want to welcome Wayne Kelly, who's serving as president of the EDGE. Wayne, the relation between teachers and students ordinarily is quite antiseptic. I mean, they come in and the teacher tells them Latin or something.
Exactly.
So how does this program differ from that?
Well, first of all, we specifically state at the beginning of the workshop that everybody is the same in here. And we do that on purpose for precisely that reason. So the students students and teachers are all the same. We're all in the workshop together, doing the same thing together. And as Grant mentioned earlier, as we go through the process and people reveal the pain in their lives, either adult or child, the students, sometimes I watch their face and they're just stunned. Oh, my teacher is actually human. He actually has these problems, the same problems and the same, just like me. So it engenders a sense of community, of the school community without separation. No teachers, no students. We're all in this together. We're all people here in this school.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, this line crossing, what is the progression? We heard that suicide was the last question.
Yeah.
You work up to, but you're talking about sexual orientation also?
Yes, we are. Actually, we are, yes. We touch on a lot of subjects that a lot of people might even consider taboo, but we do that for precisely that reason. These kids have no place to go and talk about these things. They're too posturing and they're too proud to do it among themselves a lot of times. Many schools, as we're all aware, there are so many budget cuts now that some schools don't even have counselors anymore. So these kids literally have nowhere to go and talk about this stuff, especially in a place where they feel safe. They're in their school, so they feel safe, and they're with their classmates. And they see other people going through the same thing they are and saying the same thing they are. So,
Now, before people cross the line and talk about themselves, there's a kind of if I'm remembering high school accurately, there's quite a pretense of having it together and being okay.
Oh, of course, of course. Yeah. Well, the first thing we do is separate them from their friends as much as possible. So we break up the cliques. Sometimes we'll number the kids off or whatever it takes to get them away from their group. And just that physical removal from their group leaves them safe but vulnerable. And it removes a lot of the posturing, as you can remember. I'm just remembering back to high school myself, which is why I'm laughing. My crew.
Yeah.
So
some of it's not funny.
Some of it's not funny. You're right.
Yeah. So how did you get into this work?
Well, I remember I had been with in Boys to Men before with Grant. We in that program and. Became interested in working with kids. Actually, I've always been interested in working with kids, and done a lot of mentoring.
What are some of the most sensitive things that people? Grant mentioned people crying.
Yeah. Well, the whole workshop deals with emotions. So, and as we've briefly mentioned, some of the questions are. You're talking about suicide. You're talking about some heavy stuff. So. Kids will start to cry. That's neither good nor bad. And then their other friends see them crying, and then they feel free. We were talking earlier about the crew, the clique thing. So when kids see, and their teachers, a lot of time, that's another stunner. When kids look over and they see, when the students look over and they see that their tough math teacher is crying, remembering, admitting something or remembering a story, then they feel free. They I don't want to say feed off of each other, but they support and allow each other to express their emotions.
Mm-hmm. Why do you separate the boys and girls?
Well, when we cross the line, there's 3 phases, as Grant mentioned earlier. The first phase is everybody's separated by gender, and they're separated into small groups of 10 to kind of loosen them up and get them used to what we're doing. But when we cross the line, it's all 100 kids together.
Oh, it is.
All boys and girls together, yeah. Now, we separate them initially because there's certain questions you want to ask girls. For example, Grant mentioned the thing about dressing. For guys, that's not to be sexist, but yeah, it's a little. It's just not as important to guys, but to girls, a lot of times makeup and what they're wearing and how they're wearing it is very important. So we'll have that gender-specific question. But in the main crossing the line section, they're all together. Oh, yeah.
Now, when you ask the question, people are all on one side of the line. Is there, I imagine, some hesitation?
Oh, yes.
Some people coming across and then...
There's some people who run across at the last minute. Oh, yes, we see a lot of that, too. Yeah. Well, everybody else went, so I will, too, and they'll run across. So, yes, there is a lot of that. And I'm sure there are a lot of kids who just don't participate and don't go, and just stand there. You know, they're too ashamed or shy or embarrassed or whatever it is.
But they maybe benefit, too, by seeing...
Well, my judgment is that they benefit by seeing their friends, seeing other people who, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, so they feel that way too. Oh, gosh, well, they're not so different than I am. So that's the benefit there in my judgment.
Where do you get the mentors to do this work?
Well, they're all volunteers. We're an all-volunteer organization. There are other organizations that provide the services that we provide, but I'm not aware of any other organization that does it for free. So this costs the school not one penny.
And does it in many places. I saw on the website all around Jackson County at least, all around the valley. Grants Pass?
We've done 35 schools in 2 states. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I made a mistake there. We've done 35 edges at 9 different schools in both California and Oregon. We've gone as far Wairika.
Yeah.
We've gone down to Wairika, and we've gone up to Rogue River and Grants Pass, and we'll go wherever they call us.
And Medford High School?
Medford, we've done Medford.
On the schedule?
On the schedule, yes. Medford, we've done Central Point, we've gone out to Applegate Valley.
So what is the website in case people want to find out more about?
Yes, our website, our program, we call it The Edge, but it's called The Edge, but the website is thisistheedge.org. So it'd be www.thisistheedge.org. One word, yes.
Now, does the program exist in not only high schools but lower grades?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. We found an interesting trend developing. We started off in high schools, and then we progressed to junior high schools, actually both about the same time. But now we're finding elementary schools are asking us to come. So we had a meeting with professionals, counselors and educational professionals to find out whether what we're doing would be appropriate for that age level. Because I'm thinking when I was a kid, some of these questions, some of these things were not even an issue. Yeah. And they're saying, no. The kids these days are savvy, and questions about everything goes right on down to elementary school. So
they watch television.
They watch television, exactly. They should watch more shows like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems to be appropriate all the way through K-12 schools, all the way from first grade up to high school.
Have you actually worked in an elementary school?
We have. We worked in Wilson Elementary School in Medford. So far was the one big one, and I don't think we've gone to any other elementary schools per se, but we're getting calls from principals at elementary schools.
Wow. So how is it different in an elementary school from a high school?
Well, there's a difference. The questions, again, strangely enough, are almost the same. But of course, and there's a level of maturity, of course. But basically, there's not. I'm still surprised. There's not that much difference. There's not. The kids are really savvy and mature, much more than I would have thought.
So to get the immature kids today, you have to go to preschool, or?
I'm starting to wonder if we're going to go back to the crib. So.
Yeah. So now, what kind of training do you offer the people who do the work, the volunteers who are mentors?
Okay, yes, and I'm sorry, I didn't fully answer your question a little earlier. The volunteers that we get are just community members who volunteer their time, pay their own gas money, and come to do this work for the kids. We reach out in every way possible for volunteers. We can always use volunteers. And they're basically community members who express an interest. Now, generally twice a year, we have a formal training with professional educators and psychologists who train our volunteers in how to basically facilitate the edge. But quite frankly, the main thing is just showing up. The kids are very savvy, as I said a little earlier, and they know. We make sure that they know we're there for them. We have no other agenda. Nobody's being paid. We're just here to support them and be with them. And they respond to that very well.
So this, again, is like the Mankind Project in its dependence on volunteers.
Yes.
And it's very impressive that people are willing to do the work
It's very
and
impressive.
not get anything for it.
Not get anything. Although, actually, they do get a lot. They get a lot emotionally
What
themselves.
do they get?
Well, what they get is they get to interact with kids, live their childhood again a lot of times, and see a positive result right in front of their eyes of kids opening up, softening up, hugging each other. I'll give you an example. And you mentioned earlier Wairika High School.
Yeah.
Last year at Wairika High School, they had, now this is the principal talking, not me, they had an average of 2 fights a day in the high school. And this year they had almost none. So, I should say last year, since we're just starting a new school year. So it's quite remarkable. And the volunteers that go there see this. Kids come up and hug them, they thank them, they offer apologies to their parents who are not even there sometimes. And the volunteers, adults, are all seeing this. And they just, on the ride back home in the car, sometimes some of them are just stunned into silence.
Oh, amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah. So the parent, have you talked to any parents of these? Have you had an occasion to do that of the children?
Well, what we do is generally, the parents, of course, generally are not there because it's
Right.
during school time and they're working. And we have no interaction with the parents unless they reach out to us. We're dealing with the school. Not that we avoid parents or don't want. We certainly welcome it. But we get emails and we get responses of thank you. My child is friendlier to me now. My child seems to understand me now better. We're having sincere, honest conversations that we didn't have before. So this is the kind of feedback we're getting. Parents don't come knock on my door and tell me that, but I'm
Right.
certainly getting a lot of emails and phone calls of thanks and appreciation, and other volunteers do. So again, if you're a volunteer, you're doing this. All I've got to say is just come do it, and you'll find out for yourself how rewarding it is.
So you still are accepting volunteers?
We
and
accept that we live off of volunteers.
Go to the website.
Go to the
and call you
website,
up.
yes, or call me up, or call up Grant. We're always looking for volunteers, somebody who wants to do this. And once they try it one time, we really don't have to say much else.
You don't have to say much else. Wayne, thank you for coming in today and talking about
pleasure.
this. And
Thank you for having
I hope
us.
you hear from a lot of potential volunteers.
That's my wish too. Thanks again.